see Anita's registration anywhere. But
Yeah, that's why I said I also didn't have it, which is why perhaps.
hi, Varun.
Hello, good morning.
Kaise ho aap?
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Good to see you.
Your screen to okay? Your
I can see.
screen is fine, no?
Yes, perfect.
Yeah. All right. It's 11 o'clock, so I'll sort of, without wasting time, I'll start my introduction. So, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this special Bookaroo session, not an edition, which is Children in Lockdown Mode. Bookaroo, as many of you know, and what you can see on the screen, is a children's literature festival, actually, that brings children and books. Sorry, did somebody say something?
That was your echo, I think.
Oh, okay. All right. So Bookaroo is actually a children's literature festival for those of you who don't know, which brings children and books together. Unfortunately, we are going through a very difficult time just now. And we also decided to reinvent ourselves and started conducting sessions online. Most of our sessions are targeted towards children because the mission of Bookaroo is to spread the joy of reading. But because we are all stakeholders in the development of children, whenever we can, we try to add value to this whole system by bringing in topics or subjects that are finally going to help the children in their development. So just wanted to share something else also with you for a minute, which is, this is what Bookaroo in its other avatar looks like. Last year's Bookaroo, we went to Bhopal, and then we went to Delhi, Gangtok. I mean, we are in Delhi, Gangtok, Vadodara, Bhopal, and we've been to 16 other cities, and that's how we've been doing all these years. But as you can see, times are different, and the situation is such that we've had to change the mode of delivery. But our content continues to be the same, and our focus continues to be the same. So today I'm pleased to tell you all that we have Champa Saha with us, who's going to speak about, as you've already know, I mean, I won't repeat everything, but we are basically trying to delve into the mind of the child in lockdown mode and figure out just what is happening to the child's mind in all this situation. And we as stakeholders in the child's development and growth, how are we tackling it and what are we going to do? Before that, I just wanted to share just one other small thing that we have done in the last 1 month, actually, which is we have been able to kind of enter children's homes, if I may use the word, using this.
Auntie, ma'am.
You have to share.
Oh, sorry. I'm also just getting used to it. One sec. Sorry. Maybe you just heard it. Sorry, I just...
No, we didn't hear anything, but carry on.
Just the music. Or just the music, right. So I'm just getting used to this. One sec. So share screen. Joy, right?
Yes.
Screen, and then I go into the... And is that... do you see it now?
You have to open.
Not yet. Open.
Just open at the back.
All right, got it.
Just open at the back.
Right. Sorry, Champa. Oh God, Joy.
And now share the screen. Now share the screen. Now share. It's okay. You can just go behind once you share the screen.
We can imagine. Let it start.
No. This is not happening. Okay.
Okay, I'll share.
There. All right. I have.
Okay.
Just one.
The child is trying and the adult is trying to take over. Somebody said, "I'll take over. I'll do it." Let the adult take over for now.
Yeah.
This is the first of the children and lockdown problems.
I know. So what I'm going to do, Champa, I'm not going to go into the video just now. Maybe Joy can show it towards the end. Basically, everybody, friends, what I was trying to show you was what we've been doing in the lockdown period since May 1. And we've just been doing what you saw in the first screen of bringing children and books together at home. So we've been taking authors, illustrators, storytellers, poets and all into children's homes. I mean, they register for the events just like you have registered, except that most of our sessions are kind of paid, very nominal fees. But we are trying to support the kid lit community by sharing, sharing or passing on the benefits to them, because times are really difficult, and everybody, as you also must be knowing, everybody's finding it difficult. So this was the best way, best of both worlds kind of thing. So without taking any more time, I shall just quickly talk about Champa. So Champa is an inclusive practices consultant and learning strategies trainer and facilitator. She has spent 30 years facilitating student learning, and at present designs and delivers in-service training on child development. I also wanted you to know that Champa was in Delhi for a very long time and currently based in Bangalore. She's a very versatile speaker. She's got a theater background. She tells stories also in several editions of Bukuru. She's traveled with us to tell stories. But the best thing is that she really connects with adults and children alike in a wonderful way. And I'm hoping for a great session today from Champa. So over to you, Champa.
Thank you so much. That was a lovely introduction. I do hope I will live up to the lovely words you spoke about me. So I think today I'm going to tell one of the most important stories that I'll ever tell, probably, about children and how difficult life has been since this COVID infection has taken over their lives completely, leaving them insecure, not able to understand what's going around them, and a host of other things. So to begin with, I would like to say that I will be touching upon some of the very key and significant factors that children are facing today in this situation. And the children across the board, whether they are young or older children, whether they are from affluent families or from deprived backgrounds, irrespective of all those, there are certain very common threads running through the challenges that children face today. So I will be touching a little about on all of that. We don't really have much time. But I would also like to welcome queries or questions or concerns from each one of you. And I think the best thing for you to do is to just type it in, and then we can see how much of that we can address within this time itself. So let me begin this story. So once upon a time, what happened was there were these children who were very used to particular things. They would, most of them, when they would get up in the morning, and if they were of school-going age, they would be rushed off to school. Some would be exhorted to brush their teeth, take a bath or not take a bath, put a uniform or not put a uniform, board the bus or walk barefoot, or just pick up their bag and go, leave home. And then they would spend the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, depending on what school system they were a part of, away from home, with a bunch of their peer group, children of the same age, adults over there who they were very familiar with. They called them teachers or miss or auntie, and there were cleaners and there were other support staff. It was a physical environment that they were used to. So all this happened every day. And there were breaks in between, but those were also patterned breaks. They were on weekends, they were long holidays, they were impromptu holidays, homework not done, I don't want to go tomorrow, but they were all patterned. They were all understood. There was nothing unfamiliar. And suddenly one day, without any warning, without any preparation, this life just stopped. There's no going out anymore. There's no school. Yes, in the beginning, there was jubilation. I had tons of children calling me, auntie, no exams, no classes, yeah. Long summer vacation. I said, yeah, enjoy, and all of that. But it didn't take much long for children to realize that things are not as hunky-dory as they had thought initially when they were told that there would be no school, for them to go to. Now, what I'm talking about is this familiarity. It's very important for all children to grow up in their initial years within a kind of a flexible grid of familiarity, of predictability. As their maturity arc grows and develops, it starts off well when there is a foundation of predictability in their lives. Which is why it's easy for all of us adults to understand that children from disrupted backgrounds find it very difficult to cope. It's not always that their basic needs are not, being taken care of. Even if they're in orphanages, even if they're in homes, their basic care is being taken care of. They're looked after in that way. But there are too many questions about themselves. And those little minds, the psychological and the emotional maturity trajectory that the mind has taken till then, till the age of 5, 6, 8, 10, even 15, even 18, is not able to process and cope with the unpredictability of their lives. And this is what COVID has brought in the lives of children. Immense, huge amounts of complete uncertainty and unpredictability. All patterns of life are broken. Everything is not the way it used to be just some time back. So what parents, caregivers, nurturers need to focus on is to bring predictability to the present situation. It's quite fine to share with children that, kids, even I don't know what's going to happen. Children are extremely respectful of honesty. They are instinctive creatures, very primal in their instincts, and they know when the adult has put on a smile and said, oh, it doesn't matter, but it matters tremendously. They can pick up the vibes. Even your temperature changes, your heart rate changes. Children are actually able to pick up these non-verbal communication vibes much better than adults. As we grow up, ladies and gentlemen, we start relying so much on verbal communication that we completely lose touch with our expertise with non-verbal communication that we all had as young children. A toddler or even an infant who's crawling, you call out the name and say, knows what you're talking about. A much younger, a 4-month-old infant, you look into the eyes of the infant and you do, and you'll so slowly see the sad sack upside down curve reflected. And then you smile, and there you see it reflected again. So they are experts in nonverbal communication. So today's need of the hour, primary, is to address the unpredictability in the situation all around. It's a tall order, but we are adults. We are meant to have better coping abilities. And that's supposed to be a given as compared to children. So we have to address this unpredictability in the life that has suddenly come. We have to talk about it and say that everybody's in the same boat, everybody's moving forward, things are happening, and as and when things change, you children are going to be informed. Till then, let us find the via media. Let us find the best way to tackle and cope with this. So, which brings me to a very important part again, which is verbalizing. So it is but natural for us to understand that the expressive language abilities of children are not really adult-like, although we do all say children talk all the time. Teachers most often find themselves saying in the classroom, keep quiet, keep quiet, keep quiet. Yes, they talk all the time. They're experimenting. Language experts have told us that it's actually till the age of about 6 that language development peaks. 6 years. And the rest of the human life is all about building a little on that initial fund that has been deposited and keeping on experimenting. And that is what children do. They're just experimenting with this mood. So that is why they go yak, yak, yak all the time. But when it comes to using verbal language as a tool, as an effective tool for communication, they are sadly handicapped. Whether it's the number of words that they have in their bank, which is on easy recall, which is applicable to situations, whether they have the comfort with certain adults, what does their personal experience tell them? What has happened in their short lives before this, when they ventured to talk about something with a mother or a father or an older sibling or an aunt or an uncle or a grandparent about something that was not very well liked by these older people. What was it? What was the reaction that they got? So all of that is going to mold their willingness and their ability to try and give words to what they feel now. And most of them will not find the words. So it is on us, the onus is on us, the caregivers, to vocalize what may be internal in them. Because helping children to externalize the internal issues is half the battle won. Once they hear it in voices familiar to them, it brings in a sense of tangible abilities. Oh, now I can cope with it. Oh, it is about this. Till the time it is all inside, it's intangible. So we need to talk about what is happening around the world. A word of caution here, avoid media exposure, too much of it. News channels world over are showing everything and anything about COVID. We really don't know what's there and what's not there. Stop getting obsessive about following the statistics, the numbers. We all know the general situation. We know what needs to be done by way of precautions. Let's do all of that. But the more we obsess about at home, about how bad the situation is, God knows what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what this, we don't know. This we don't know becomes a huge, unsurmountable problem for the child. So we talk about it. Yes, we're not very sure, but well, there are people in authority, there are governments, there are doctors, there are administrators, there's police, things are happening. We are all in the same boat. There is a commonality to it. There is strength in unity, and we'll do it together. And you are, after all, my child. I'm there for you. So we'll do this together. So talking about it in very practical terms, helping the child to find an avenue to reach you. Sometimes children have told me that I told mommy that I feel very sad that I cannot meet my friend. It's been so long. And mommy said, oh, friends are important, is it? You are with your mommy, daddy, and the whole family, and that's not important for you. You're getting to spend so much time with us. That can completely kill a child's initiative in trusting this most trusted adult, the mother, to speak out and say what's innermost. If that's the kind of reaction, the children's view of family and spending time with the family is nowhere near ours. Because spending time with family is a given for children. It's taken for granted. They don't even think of life outside the family. So what is this huge focus on spending time with mama? Mama has to spend time with me. Papa has to spend time with me. I don't have to spend time with them. Hear the children's voices. They're always trying to talk to you. But the problem with adults is we will only hear what we want to hear. And we will completely turn a deaf ear and a blind eye to what is there. What is the child trying to tell us? The child's coming up with something and say, "Ha, bolo. Yes, tell me. Quickly, I have a presentation." Oh my God. You've created this completely stressful situation here. The child was, God knows what she was about to say. And the child says something, "Mama, not dal again today," or something. Oh, mommy doesn't have time. She has to do office. It's all noise, a lot of noise. And the child says, why is she telling me all this? Hundreds, literally over the last 35 years, hundreds of children parents have come and told me, why do mommy and daddy tell me things were different in their time? What can I do about it? You'll agree there's logic to that, isn't it? And I'm the child's person and I tell them, you're right. I don't know why mommy and daddy like to stay in the past. But well, cope with it. Help them out of it. I tell children, help your parents to come out of the past. So times were like this, we never did this, we never got this, we never had phones, we never had laptops. Yes, but whose fault was that? Why tell your child all this? You know what? Your grandparents may have sacrificed their gold bangles and stuff like that for the struggle for independence. What have you done for India? What have we done? My grandparents did. I'm sure some of yours did too. They got beaten up by the British. We haven't got beaten up by our police. So this comparison doesn't help, because we are trying to help children to maybe be happy about all that they have today and all, but that's not the way to do it, because they are growing up in a norm where all of this is there. They haven't brought it in. It was just there all around them. So children want to talk to us. They want to be heard. We have to lend them our ears. We have to give them time, whereby we hear them and their voices just the way it is, and not try to superimpose what we want heard and we want spoken. Yes, Swati? Yes.
One of the questions that came up, and it's relevant because a lot of people who have registered are teachers. So
Right.
they are taking online classes and they are trying to, themselves cope with this new change.
Of
So
course.
Varun is asking that in government primary school context, currently, what should be the priority and how should I take it? What
Okay.
and how? Yeah.
Right. So this is a bit of a presumption, but given the situation that has been prevalent over the last few years, probably most of the children attending the government primary classes do come from certain deprived backgrounds. And that is of primary importance to note, because one of the first things to focus on is how are their families and their survival needs being taken care of through these months. A query from the teacher. Now, it is also a presumption that many of them do have devices like phones and all, through which one can get in touch with them. And I am not aware of whether there are any formal school programs that are being done, so-called online, for the government primary children.
We could ask Varun actually. We could actually ask Varun.
Yeah, please do. Yeah. Varun?
Yes. The assumptions that we are taking care of the family in terms of ration and the survival, and definitely the families have the smartphone and basic phone. But yes, the online classes like Zoom and Google Meet, it's not happening and it's not feasible right now. But teachers are trying to do whatever they can on the smartphone and the basic phone.
That's great, because from my experience of government schools, quite a few places in the country, I admire the staff, because the kind of home follow-up that the government school staff does is really lacking in all the other school systems. I have personal experience of how many government school teachers do a lot of home visits, home calls. So I think that is the thread to hang on to, Varun. And while talking to the children, it is also essential to bring in this whole thing about patterns and tell them that सब कुछ बदल गया है, लेकिन आपको थोड़ा बहुत पहले की तरह रखना है. जो भी आपके पास पुरानी किताबें हैं, वो कॉपीज हैं, ड्राइंग बुक्स हैं, पेंसिल्स हैं, उनका इस्तेमाल कीजिए. हमें बताइए. There could be a 3-4 day kind of a pattern that you can set with a group of children. Between all the staff members, you could kind of divide the children. So each staff member is kind of a mentor for a few children, and he or she calls them once in a while, maybe once a week, twice, whatever is possible, whatever is practically possible, because staff members, the teachers, are also human beings and they're coping with their own challenges. And you call a child, the child wants to talk and share, so you need time for that. So calling 10 children, 20 children is not a joke. It's not easy. So what I'm trying to say is customize it to the optima level possible for you and your staff members. But it's important to maintain this thread of contact in this. And we can also kind of presume that family stresses will be much higher in the lower economic echelons, because their survival is at question. Many of them have lost their jobs, they've been uprooted, they've been thrown out of their homes, landlords have thrown them out, and so they're all over the place. So many of them have migrated back to their villages. You won't probably be able to get in touch with many of them. So the children who you can get in touch with need to hear your voice, need to feel that, okay, something has not changed in my all changed world. My teacher is still the same. My teacher still talks about homework and classwork and reading. My teacher still talks about school and things like that. So some of those familiar things will provide a massive psychological support for your children. And as a veteran teacher, believe me, I'm convinced from the heart that the formal education, the learning can wait. It will happen again. We are not going to be like this forever and ever. We'll get back. But instead of doing 30 chapters in English and Hindi and Math, if we do only 5 chapters in one annual session, it really doesn't matter. What matters is that we keep our children equipped and able to get back to that pattern again when it resets. So we need to keep visualizing that pattern, that it will emerge. It will come back. वो दिन आएगा जब आप फिर से सुपर स्कूल यूनिफॉर्म पहन के स्कूल आओगे बेटा. कब होने वाला है ये तो टीचर को भी नहीं पता, लेकिन जैसे ही पता होगा आपको बताएंगे. So it's a wait and watch game. It's like, the cat and mouse. So it's all, you can just make little stories कि ये COVID जो है पता नहीं क्या है, ऐसे cat जैसे mouse को पकड़ती है. And also, while you are at it, bring in the little COVID factual information. ये टोना टाटके से नहीं जाएगा, ये इट्स नॉट अ क्रीचर, वायरस क्रीचर नहीं होता है, और कैसे ये फैलता है. इवन डॉक्टर्स वर कंफ्यूज, साइंटिस्ट वर कंफ्यूज. तो अब हमें वो बता रहे हैं कि वो थूक से भी फैलता है. तो बात करो बच्चों, तो दूर हट के बात करो. सो मेक इट एट देयर लेवल. अब वो थोड़ी ना मास्क पहन के घूम रहे हैं, नहीं घूम रहे, कुछ नहीं कर सकते. अरे हाथ रख लो, अपना रुमाल रख लो, कुछ भी. ये मास्क भी तो inaccessible है. We may use the word mask. It's not a mask. It's cover your mouth. If you're talking, कुछ भी नहीं है तो हाथ रख के बात करो अपने दोस्तों के साथ, मजा भी आता है. लेकिन दूर खड़े होके गेम बना लो, कितने दूर खड़े. So with younger children, you can devise a lot of ways to bring in this. और फिर जैसे ही बात खत्म हुई, दौड़ के जाओ और हाथ धो लो. It's like that. So I really appreciate your concern and all the best.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, Swati.
Champa, that was fantastic the way you explained. Yes. See, Ravi is asking that, that quintessential question about online sessions. How much? I know you did not want to talk about the technical stuff of teaching, but still, if you want to, address this, that he's saying how much time. Otherwise, we normally say keep away from gadgets and screen time and all. And
Yes.
we are contradicting ourselves by saying that. I know schools have found a kind of a norm that this much time is allowed, and obviously that eight classes a day is not happening. But still, just to touch upon that part also, how to reconcile to the fact that yes, we are encouraging something which we ordinarily discourage.
Absolutely. So that is another thing that has come a lot to me from children across age groups, right from 5 years to 20 years. That what is it with adults? Just a month back, they were berating us for screen time because we were playing games and watching movies or whatever. And now we are sitting 7 to 8 to 9 hours in front of a screen. And now they're saying we have to do more of it because now schools and principals, so well, it's a paradox we are fighting. So yes, interesting question. So I think that since we cannot beat it, online things have to be done to keep the reach with children. Schools are in this race to carry on with the syllabus, justify the fees taking, all of that. We are not entering into that. But just as I say to a teacher in a classroom, a teacher and her children or his children in a classroom is like a little bubble we create. And inside the bubble, keeping in mind the systemic norms and all that we cannot circumvent or cannot fight, we are always blaming systems for everything. However, having said all of that, the moment that is between teacher and children is our moment. And it is completely up to us to design that moment to the best interest of the children. So now, one of the things I have done with children, or I've helped school teachers to do, is to decide which part of the syllabus can go out as just a video, which they watch. And then there's a feedback system. There could be a multiple answer, depending on the age of the child that you're dealing with, the class. It could be a one long answer, a synopsis of what happened in the video, what did you learn from this topic, etc. So they watch the video, they close it. It's a short video, probably 7-8 minutes, and the rest of the time you're all logged in, but they are writing out their responses. Keeps them writing. We're still not, actually in India, still not thinking of an immediate school system where writing will be gone forever. And now when children come back to school, 4 months, 5 months, 8 months, 1 year down the line, I don't know what's going to be happening to their writing skills, which were already not very happy. So even during this online thing, it's not that it's not about writing or reading or talking. It's about everything. So make a package out of your session, just as we do in a classroom. So, okay, we are teaching for some time, we present a topic for some time, we may prepare some slides and show it to them, and then it is interaction time. Okay, kids, now you need to switch off your videos for 10 minutes, switch them back on in 10 minutes. I know control is a problem. But with younger children, you can take parents into the fold and have them do it. With older children, yes, it is still a very big issue because they are playing around with the controls and they are becoming the host, and a whole lot of things are happening. But to convey to children that we are on your side, I generally like to start my sessions with children by saying, this is so bad for you. Oh my God, kids, now you've got this 1 hour of Shakespeare waiting, and oh my God, how you couldn't even be bothered what Shylock told Antonio. But okay, come on, let's kind of simplify things. We have lost the medium of personal touch. So we really need to simplify what we are trying to convey. Put it in capsules, little summary capsules. This is not a very interesting chapter. It's a tough one, but these are the key points. So let's talk about it. I'm going to give you the key points first. We can do the detailed chapter later. Get the crux in, is what I'm trying to say. You don't have them for too long when they're in front of a screen. You don't even know whether you have them at all. Even in a classroom, a teacher doesn't have children all the time. Definitely not for 40 minutes every time. So here it's like probably 4 minutes. So cut down your lesson to 4 minutes of delivery. That's your challenge. You need to teach today's lesson in 4 minutes. The rest of it is hype. We don't know how much of it. Yes, you will have some of your children who will diligently go through the videos you send them, go through the presentation you send them, right? But there will be that major group of children who are not going to really look at all of this. So 4 to 5 minutes of the actual lesson delivery, and you have done it. And then some feedback system, something. I know it's terribly challenging for teachers. Terribly. I mean, we've suddenly lost everything that we... So imagine how much more for children. We are adults. We're supposed to be professionals. And yet we are floundering. Nobody's to be blamed. So children are in a much worse state. So big challenges, key factors from your syllabus. Pick up the keys, the details. Hope like hell that things change and maybe they come back and then you can get back to the details. But at least the basics, especially in subjects which are chain linked, mathematics. If you don't do one concept today, the children cannot go forward with other concepts. So chain linked subjects are very important to pursue now. English literature, maybe a little of it. More emphasis on the story, a little bit on the crux of the story or the poem, and divide your time between the subjects, things which have to be written out, give it more importance, things like that. I mean, you'll have to constantly, but yes, screen time is a big concern. Already hundreds and hundreds of children, especially the older ones, grades 9th and above, are developing headaches, itching eyes, a depression. They're not going out of their rooms. I've had so many concerned parents and children call me about this. It's very concerning. So probably also arrange for little breaks within your classes. Collaborate within the staff. If you're all staff of the same school and the same class, collaborate within yourselves. You know how we used to do collaborative teaching in schools sometime. So similar, share your load. It's not compartmentalized. It looks like that because we are all stuck in our individual homes. But reaching out to children, delivering syllabus or content is not compartmentalized. It's a simulation of the school, and you have to tell children that yes, it's so exciting. We are all in our homes, and yet we are in the same classroom. Like, oh my God, this is fun. So that kind of a thing. But do share the load with your teachers. Share amongst yourselves who's going to do how much. If the child is going through an entire timetable for a day, is the English teacher doing like 10 pages of writing and the math teacher is doing another 10 pages of writing? Then we are in trouble. So make up your minds, schedule a timetable for yourselves, and okay, this is what we need to do, this is what we do need to do. Pick and choose, fight for your children, fight with your administration, tell your principals that I'm going to do this, these are the basics, and I'm going to do it well so that the details can be done later, or much of the details can actually be done by the children themselves. Many of them are very fond of doing self-study when they are trusted to do it. So that kind of thing. Any other queries that we need to address immediately? Swati?
No, sorry. No questions just now. No more.
Not just now. Okay. So moving on from familiarity, the next or parallelly important thing is security. What children crave, it is also there in the child rights. The Constitution grants it to our children. Security, which is gone completely. Now, we may think that the children are getting to eat and bathe and sleep and be looked after, so they are secured. That's not how the child sees it. Because the child from an average economic background does not see acquisition of food as a challenge at all, or the safety of the bed or anything. Security is the environment. We have hundreds and hundreds of parents facing economic depression, they're out of jobs, there are huge salary cuts. This has obviously impacted the adults. But how has it impacted the children? A father talking of getting lesser salary, and so the family having to make changes. A small child hears all this, and God knows what he or she wonders. What's going to happen? Is my father going to die? I had a child ask me, is my father going to die now? There are fears, extreme insecurity that the children are facing. Of course, it's linked. It's because the patterns have broken. Everything that they knew and they were familiar with, which they fought against tooth and nail, nahi jana hai school, nahi padhna hai, but it was familiar, it was predictable, it was the done thing, and suddenly none of that is happening. So this insecurity is posing very serious, very urgent psychological challenges for children. And as adults, we have to address it immediately. So even if there is an environment where these adult challenges have been discussed or talked about or have percolated to the children, we owe it to them to explain to them that yes, there are changes, but Papa and Mummy are completely able and capable of dealing with this, because it's not happening to just us alone. Society is also taking care of it. There may be some white lies in there, but for the sake of the psychological security of your child, it is imperative that you convey to the child that there is a challenge, but we are up to it. We have lesser money this month. Fine. So let's sit down and see how we can manage within that less money. And everybody gets a role. Everybody gets to do a cutback on their expenses, including the child and the mother and the father and whoever else is there. So it's a team thing that is happening. If the worry has already reached the child, then there is absolutely no point in being secretive about what is being done to deal with that worry. Yes, of course, you're not going to open up your whole adult game plan to the child, but discuss it at the child's level. Now, because the child really wants to be part of the solution. The child has already become a part of the problem, inadvertently maybe. Maybe the child is being shouted at, screamed at. You want this now? Papa's lost his job. नौकरी नहीं है, पैसे नहीं आ रहे, रेंट नहीं दे सकते, तुम्हें ये चाहिए, तुम ये कर रहे हो, तुमने इतना खाना फेंक दिया, ये कर दिया. One way or the other, बच्चा तो बन गया प्रॉब्लम का पार्ट, और वो बच्चा है. The level of his maturity is just about till there. Now what? Suddenly, it's completely beyond the child. So if the child has become a part of the problem, the child has a right to be part of the solution. Customize this to school issues. Exams, board exams, CBSE, ICSE have scrapped the remaining board exams. But what next? 9th graders are telling me, ma'am, not fair. There should be COVID next year also. हमारे भी board exams cancel होने चाहिए. अभी जो 9th में है, अगले साल 10th में जाएंगे, वो अभी से सोच रहे हैं कि हमारे बोर्ड एग्जाम भी कैंसिल, अब इस बार के हो गए तो बच्चे हैं, वहीं तक सोच है उनकी. 11th graders, 12th graders एडमिशन होगा कि नहीं, कौन से कॉलेज में होगा, कैसे होगा, बाहर जाना था. So many children had to go abroad or whatever to other cities within India. Everything's up for a toss. So what are the solutions to that? What are the universities saying? So get on to that kind of information, convey that. So-and-so university, so-and-so school has said, we'll do this about commissions. Ask schools, what are they thinking? We owe our children a lot more explanations. We can tell them that we don't know what we have decided today, whether it will be what is done ultimately, but as of now, this is what we are thinking. Children need to be assured and feel secure that the adults are on it. They are planning things. They are moving with the times, because children are all at sea. And if they see adults also in a similar state, imagine the fear levels of insecurity. मुझे भी कुछ नहीं पता, मेरी मैम को भी कुछ नहीं पता, मेरे मम्मी पापा को भी कुछ नहीं पता, हम सब खत्म होने वाले हैं. Oh my God, what's going to happen? And then someone's parents know better. They're already planning this. Ma'am, what's going to happen to me? My parents don't know anything. My teachers are not telling me anything. We owe them explanations. We owe them information. It's absolutely fine to tell them that it's all tenuous. हमें भी नहीं पता. लेकिन फिलहाल हम ऐसा सोच रहे हैं, ऐसी strategy है. You have to bring them on the table. Like I said, the more a team thing that happens with children, whether it's a 3-year-old or whether it's a 20-year-old, it doesn't really matter. When it comes to insecurity, the insecurity of a 3-year-old is similar to the insecurity of an 80, 90-year-old. The basic remains the same. What's going to happen to me? That's the question. Address this question. Yes, Swati. Your microphone is off. Yeah.
You spoke about the facts, and this is specifics. There's information out there. We need to go and access and then pass it on to the child, or take a team decision, or at least show that we are interested and we are going in. What happens to a individual situation in a family where the children become so clingy to the parents, or they become possessive of their, somebody actually has asked, a mother has asked, that that possessiveness has really gone up. So much so that if one child gets hurt and she's looking after that child, the other one says, oh, you don't love me. So that kind of a thing, what you sort of touched in the beginning, touched upon in the beginning. So I'm just, because there's a specific query. So therefore I'm asking, so 100 times a day, this lady has to listen to this crib that,
Yes.
Because they're all seeing each other all the time.
Absolutely.
And every behavior is being kind of mapped.
Absolutely.
So,
yes. As you rightly point out, clinginess is actually one of the most common manifestations of this deep set insecurity. What's going to happen to me? I cannot let my mother out of sight even for a minute. And for younger children, added to that, or maybe primary to that, is what's going to happen to my mother. What's going to happen to my father? Because they, in their own little ways, may have become a part of the problem, as I said. They have imbibed from the stressful environment of home. From whispered discussions between parents or shouted out discussions, fights between the mother and the father, accusing each other of overspending, or a whole lot of things that is very common between spouses. But the child gets her or his own takeaway from that. So this extreme fear and insecurity regarding the future of the parents, because a young child knows that without my mommy and daddy, what do I do? So this clinginess is being manifest more and more and more as the months increase of their being cooped up in this, in a small environment of people and physical space. And added to this is also the fact that we have moved out, it's been a while, moved out of joint family systems, we moved out of extended family systems, we've also moved out, many of us, out of, sibling family systems. I mean, there are, in many, many families, there's only one child now. So the children are, on the one hand, very used to being the focus of parental attention of different kinds, as in attention. By attention, I think I'm probably talking about an idea that anything and everything in the world is about them. Many parents do say as much to their children, which is not to say that the children are not our worlds. They are. Of course, all our children are our worlds. But when we say that again and again and again to a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, 4-year-old, we do not factor in how it's being construed by the child. What is the connotation? What is the meaning the child is getting out of it? Now, in the norm, the child was getting an escape route, a time of the day when the child was out of that small little home environment, going to school, spending time with peers, lot of comparatives out there, each talking about their own family and what's happening. They share a lot. And then coming back. So there was a window period when they were not there. And when they were back, it was normal for them to expect that, okay, now my food and my play and my mobile and my whatever. And one way or the other, some or the other, either of the parents or somebody else, a nanny maybe, or somebody is catering. So now I'm there all the time. So if I'm there all the time, you need to be sitting in front of me all the time too. That's the norm, isn't it? That's the pattern. So again, we go back to bringing children on board. We have to set them on the same platform. Things are different now. So let us come up with a different schedule. Those who can afford it, what if that room is our school room? जैसे सुबह उठ के स्कूल जाते थे, हम रोज सुबह उठेंगे, मम्मी का वो ऑफिस रूम होगा, पापा का वो कॉर्नर ऑफिस होगा, आपका वो स्कूल क्लासरूम होगा. It could be about space organization, reorganization of space by simulating, by labeling each space for something. Now, when your child is sitting on the bed and attending the school class, and the khana is coming there, and the child is sprawled out on the same bed and watching a video again over there, or sprawled out on the same bed and doing a host of other things, the physical environment lines just vanish. And that is very significant, because the human being's social behavior is to a large extent dictated by the physical environment. We are not the same in different spaces. It's the same person. We even dress up differently for different spaces. So you tell your child कि ये ड्रामा तो हमें करना पड़ेगा अभी घर पे. अब जब घर पे ही हैं, तो घर is everything. That means when is it घर and when is it school? Which part of ghar is ghar? Which part of ghar is school? Which part of ghar is papa's office? Which part of ghar is dadima's puja room? We need to designate it now and stick to it. हम बाहर नहीं जा पा रहे हैं, so let's just make it all happen inside the house. And believe me, I have been working very closely with children from extremely deprived backgrounds now in COVID times who actually live in shanties. Like there's just one room with some 7-8 members, and they have successfully managed to organize that one room into different spaces for different times of the day. So much so the children have got so enthused that they've actually created backgrounds with newspaper, with chart paper, with dupattas, with something. They just put something and it's become a different space for them. And I've had them tell me, okay, so now if it is this space, how is your body? क्या वो ऐसे लेटा हुआ है, पटका हुआ है? Is it straight? Is it like a little conscious about the clothes, about the hair? So we need to do that at home. We need to lay down completely new ground rules for home. Kahan ghar hai? Just because all of us are at home all the time. Now, having said that, I must put in a word here about the adults. I do find many of my friends and colleagues and people I know really well not even changing out of their night dresses. And they're logged into office meetings or whatever. Why are we doing this? अगर हम यही कह रहे हैं बच्चों को कि खाना खाते करते वीडियो ऑफ कर दो और ऑफिस की मीटिंग चला लो, so the child says अच्छा वीडियो ऑफ करके मैं गेम खेलूंगा, मम्मी भी तो कर रही है कुछ और, मम्मी के बॉस सोच रहे हैं कि वो मीटिंग अटेंड कर रही है. It's children are apes. They love aping. That's how they learn most of the things, at least in the earlier years. And you will not believe it, but many older children also imitate to a very large extent, sometimes very subconsciously. But if you think of your children, if you think of the children that you really know, in your circles, you will suddenly call them and say, oh, is it the mother talking or the daughter? The voice sounds like the mother, the way of talking. So it is all imitation. It is how cinema artists and all do dubbing, they just imitate. Amitabh Bachchan doesn't do all the ads. There is a guy there who can imitate his voice, his tone, his pitch and everything. Children imitate all the time. So we need to be a little careful about that and talk to them. But we cannot be arbitrary. We cannot say, my mummy hu, main kuch bhi kar sakti hu. Main papa hu. I can do anything. I can lie on my bed with my laptop on my thing and I do. But you are a child. You are a student. You're sitting in school. Unfortunately, that doesn't work. Privileges of adulthood in the context of a child's perspective do not include this. Because from a child's perspective, an adult is whole privileged. And I agree with the child. Who gets to make all the decisions? The adult. By default. I know many adults who don't like doing it, but they ask children and then they take democracy to a different level altogether, which is also fraught with dangers. But the point is, a child feels that the adult is already fully, completely privileged and does not need any privileges. So a father saying, ki main ye kar sakta hu because I'm a father, doesn't sit well with children. It doesn't get imbibed. Oh yes, he's a father, let him do what he feels like. No. So physical environment of the house, reorganizing it to suit today's times, timing. Yes, Swati.
Same thing, that as a continuation of reorganizing, a mother is asking, or I assume mother, is asking that, I say assume, you know why? This is one of the perils of lockdown and sessions, is because sometimes the computer name is different from the person who's attending.
Yes.
The person I addressed as Ravi was probably Sandhya. I'm not sure, I was checking for a Ravi. So this is Mala is asking that should we also make the children wear school uniform? Is that what would you say to that? Apart from the school?
Interesting question. In fact, a lot of schools are grappling with this because many schools, I believe, are making it like mandatory for children, hoping that it will bring in a sense of like I'm in school and discipline or whatever. You could probably leave it to the child also. If the said school has not made any demands on that, you could say that, why don't we do this? And again, like I said, the parents have to be part of the game. So the mother also has to get up and wear her office dress. The papa also has to do that. Papa, and like, I just do it for the sake of my clothes. When I open the cupboard, I hear my clothes saying, we are here, put us on, where is it, what is this? And I say, oh yes, I cannot neglect you all this time. So I just started getting up in the morning, my shower, put on my dress, and then do whatever it is, online or offline, or whatever it is. So again, actually on a very serious note, getting up in the morning, going for your bath or your change or whatever, and then putting on a different set of clothes, those go into the washing machine next day, blah, 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 is also part of that predictable pattern that they are used to. So I was just coming to this, Swati, that in this situation where everything is just turned on its head and everything is completely different, we need to sit down and make a list of things that can be simulated at home, which can have a touch, a resemblance of how things were. Because that is the comfort zone. That is the niche. And children will perform in the sense function much better if they see the glimpses of that. I get it from children who live with their grandparents. I have had older children, 16-year-old, ask me, my Ajji's grandmother, nothing has changed for Ajji auntie. She gets up in the morning. She does her part. She goes and takes a bath. She changes her clothes. She does her part. She makes coffee for us. Nothing has changed. But look at the rest of us. I feel so uncomfortable. And that's the vital clue I got. I said, yes, you're so right. So nothing has changed is the mantra, where everything has changed. What are those things that we can hang on to? And explain it and talk to the children that, like I said, vocalize. If the adult says, oh my God, this is really tough for me, just sitting at home and doing my office thing, and whereas I used to go take a drive and do that, oh God, this is so tough. Let me do things, I've had people make a little coffee shop in their own homes, just for the heck of it. Family time things, ki chalo banate hain. Weekend, because there are families who would go out on weekends and all. So it's become a family thing, right from the 2-year-old to the 7-year-old, the 2 children, the mother, father, they make a restaurant out of their homes, something like, So you can just think of anything. Whatever is accessible, given the limits of safety and sanitization and everything, if a short walk is possible, if the terrace is there, go visit your terrace. And be careful of the locusts, of course, Delhi, and don't have swarms of locusts settle on you and say, oh, Champa told me to come to the terrace and look what has happened to me. No. So, given everything, but the focus is to bring back a semblance of what used to be to the extent possible and tell the children that. Ki ye to kar nahi sakte abhi hum. This is not happening. Let's do it at home. Let the father say, I'm sick and tired of wearing that same t-shirt and sitting in front of I'm going to start wearing my office dresses, at least for 1 hour in the morning. I feel good, as if I'm really in office. Now, if Papa can say that, then it's valid, then it's fine. Then I'm okay. We are all saying the same thing. So, the focus of today's message, I think, is this predictability of pattern, because it is tremendously traumatizing, agonizing for children. And I will just touch upon here for a short moment, especially children with special needs. Children on the autism spectrum disorder, children with cerebral palsy, children with mental retardation, that is intellectual disability, children with any kind of deficiencies. Their challenges are that much more pronounced, especially children on the autism spectrum, because their life is all about predictable patterns. So you have to fight for them and make it as predictable as possible. And the other greatest lacuna in their lives is the lack of peer groups, peer group interaction. I can go on for a whole day and more with what children gain from being able to access peer group socialization. Yes, there are children who are bullied. Yes, there are children who are not liked, who don't have friends. They're separate little capsules, of course. But primarily, this interaction with the peer group is like a tonic for their psychological growth. And they've been deprived of that for days now. Now, if so much is happening on devices, might as well have a little more of this too. A teacher doing a class can just decide one day, okay, children, today we're going to have a chat day. You're all on, and as I call out each name, switch on your mics and say 2 sentences, and let's share what's happening. You can customize your classes. If your class is 40 minutes, you can have a 5-7 minutes chat time for earmark 3 to 4 children. I said, okay, these 3 will talk today, next 3 will chat the next day, next class that we have. Maybe give them something to look forward to for your class also. But this interaction where they are just with each other, whatever level, is very, very important. And this deprivation is not being bridged at all. It's not possible to bridge this deprivation physically. So we have to resort to distance bridging. If you're in an apartment, standing on your balconies and doing a jig together, playing some music together and dancing to it, or whatever it is. You can, as a mom, you can organize this with your friends, children, that, okay, let's all, 5 o'clock, we'll stand in our balconies and we'll wave out and we'll, just call out to each other, just something where they are with themselves and the parents are inside. Okay, fine, have your little balcony chat. And it's fine for them to be shouting across, hey, what are you doing? It's fine, just 5-6 minutes. And if your RWA complaints, tell them it's for their psychological health. The doctor told us. But yes, we need to bring children back in children's lives. Too many adults, too much of adulting happening. Children need to get back into children's lives. Children need to be told much more than they are being told. Children need to be made a genuine part of everything that is going on. And they need to be told that we really don't know. No false hopes. सब ठीक हो जाएगा, सब ठीक हो जाएगा. कुछ पता नहीं है, लेकिन जो भी होगा साथ करेंगे. We are all in this together. And we are making plans. Schools are making plans, governments are making plans, administrators are making, we are all there. Everybody's working at it. So it's not like the world is going to come to an end and it's going to vanish or something's going to happen. Things will be different for a while. And within the difference, bring back the patterns, the familiarity.
Thank you so much, Champa. That's I don't know what to say. This is not like a structured PPT kind of a talk, which you never like doing, but it's more from the heart and definitely to the heart, because these are issues which are plaguing all of us and we are reeling from it. We have teachers and parents who are here and they would obviously use it in the professional, at a professional level as well as at personal level. So thank you for that. We on our part, as you know, Champa, have been doing this. And Joy, would you like to show it now? That much awaited video has to be shown. Joy,
Yes, absolutely.
There's a reason why I want to show it also. Apart from the fact that it's enjoyable, and just to let you know how many people have been doing things for children over the last 1.5 months, because we obviously realize that Bukuru also will not be as per plan, as per all the cities that we travel to. Joy, are we ready?
Yeah. Give me 1 minute.
Oh, 1 minute. That's a lot of time, okay?
Not
Also,
all can see?
yeah.
Yes.
Start. We can see a folder now.
Oh, you can't see?
Double click कर दे.
हाँ, कर दिया उसको. Just a minute.
I think the video is jinxed.
No,
No, that's all right. So what I'm basically in continuation of what you said, Champa. It's
Yes.
just I heard your talk today only, so but it's made sense that yes, children are meeting people online, but mostly they are meeting possibly family and the classes that are happening, right? What we at Bukuru have been trying to do is that we have been getting authors, illustrators, and storytellers to come and tell. And what is more important is that it is taking the place of that playground or something, to my mind. Because they are seeing children from across the country, from across the world at times, and they're able to interact with them as if in that 1 hour they're making new friends. And sometimes when we are showing things which are, you create, what did you think? suddenly they see resonance coming from various places which were, they don't know who they are. It's not like, Malti from my class or, my buddy.
Absolutely.
It's
Yes.
not like that. It's all sort of different people. So that was quite a revealing thing, because off and on what I'm seeing on online media is that people are just going ahead and doing things, not very sure who is watching it. Whereas we have made
Yes.
this thing because we really want to know who has come online, what do they want, why are they here. That's why we asked that question about parents and teachers yesterday. How many have logged in as parents and how many are going to log in as teachers? So if this would be a good way to break monotony, I would recommend that people who have registered today for this event, please register on the website to get updates on the events that we hold.
Absolutely.
And it will be for between 4 to 16 years, but all our sessions are in 2-year age bands. So 4 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to 10, 10 to 12, things like that. So there's environment, there's wildlife, there's pure storytelling, there is art workshop, sketching, cartooning, all kinds of things. And the other thing that is coming up next month is, if Champa has time, she has said she would like to take a master class. She has done it this year. Yes.
Always.
Always. Last year, Champa actually did a master class. We did it at, in Delhi at Lodi Road in the Intac office, Intac auditorium. Last year, it was about discovering unraveling the mysteries of reading and writing mysteries in a special needs child's mind. So this year we haven't decided on the topic, but it will be to do with child development, and I will keep in touch with you to let you know what it is. This is just a conversation. We felt a freewheeling discussion was needed at this stage to gauge how and what everybody is going through. So thank you very much. Oh, there it has started.
There.
Without music, of course.
Ah, nice. Oh, lovely.
Yeah, these are our authors who came on board and
Yeah,
various
yes.
places across. Yeah.
Old friends.
Yes.
Lovely. Wonderful.
We haven't added your picture yet, sir. Champa. That will come at the end.
Not to worry.
Yeah, so please register so that you
Yeah,
can see
actually, just the last word, so to speak, just as Bukaru, of course, you know how textbooks just took over children's reading lives and took them completely away from all other kinds of reading, because children just started associating very nasty and bored and tedium with reading, took them away from this beautiful world of books. Today, when I see this online class thing, I mean, this whole digital world is the future. Somewhere it's going to be more and more in practice when it comes to children and learning, or getting to explore the world. But we are probably now creating this thing again with these really terrible classes on. So let children also get a sense of the other things that can happen. In fact, we created a group of a social group with some young boys who are on the autism spectrum as an experiment. A friend of and I did, and it's working beautifully. Once a week they meet online just to chat. And there are 2 boys on the group who are non-verbal. They don't talk, but they log in and they listen. So it's turned out quite beautifully, and it's fun to hear them talk. They're all on the spectrum. So it's like if you're listening to them, they're not making any sense. But it's made a huge difference as their parents. And they're all young adults. They're all 20, 22, 24. The parents, it's making such a lot of difference to their everyday, because just that window period of just being with their age group and whatever it is. So I think, Swati, that's a great thing Bukaru is doing. Giving children a different connotation altogether of what an online session can be. It can be fun, it can be relaxation, it can be entertainment, just as all books can. And learning happens. Learning is by default. It just happens. You don't have to hit it home, So great being with all of you. I am so thankful to everybody who came on the session. And I also want to say, Swati, that if there were queries or if there are more queries from any of the participants, and you can pass them on to me, I'd be most happy to respond through mail or whatever through Bukaru. If there's anything urgent from any of the participants that they would like to be addressed. Okay, thank you, and bye-bye everyone. Stay safe, stay well.